Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's me, That One Weeb here, back after 2 years with the newest part 8, for What If Naruto Had Sunshine. The last part 7, took place in August of 2020, so it's been approximately 2 years since the last part. So I definitely recommend going back and watching the prior parts of this, since we're pretty far along into the story anyway. So I'll just be continuing from what I left off in my notes. Anyway, if you guys like this story and want to see more, make sure to hit that like button, comment below you thought, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this from me. And yeah, let's just get right into the story where we left off. Last time, Naruto realized that Kabuto was a traitor, having told Tsunade that he had killed Orochimaru. That's right. You see, Naruto last time actually had accessed his full power by the day reaching its climax, that being 12 o'clock, high noon. At high noon, Naruto's power reached its climax, and unlocking Naruto's full power, giving him the strength and power necessary to use Divine Sword Naruto, or Divine Sword Uzumaki, whatever you prefer. But the point is that Naruto used the Divine Sword ability of Sunshine in order to defeat and burn away Orochimaru, as well as basically nullify Sasuke's curse mark. So Sasuke and Orochimaru have nothing going on. Orochimaru's dead. Of course, there is still his other curse mark users like Jugo and Suigetsu, and those people who are still alive, who still have manifestations of Orochimaru's chakra, so there is ways for him to come back. But as for now, his entire corporeal form and his connection to Sasuke has been severed through the power of Sunshine and its holy light. Naruto at this point has now begun training with the Rasengan, and it's something that's been pretty slow going. Naruto with Jiraiya is able to create his own version of Rasengan fairly easily just using Sunshine. But as I mentioned in part 7 and part 6 prior, Jiraiya is trying to teach Naruto not to rely so much on Sunshine's power in order to learn how to master the Kyuubi. His worry is that Minato may have sealed the Kyuubi for now, but if Naruto refuses to let the Kyuubi's power begin to actually mix of his own, then Naruto will be unable to become a perfect Jinchuriki, the entire point of why Minato had sealed the Nine Tails in the first place. Naruto could only create flame-style Rasengans, something that Jiraiya himself was able to do. This is basically the result of Naruto having such a strong fire release, that being even to the level of Amaterasu through Sunshine. So naturally, of course, Naruto's Rasengans are going to be affected by fire release, because most of Naruto's chakra comes off as heat anyway. Naruto would have effectively perfected the Rasengan, although this isn't what Jiraiya was attempting to do. Minato himself was unable to ever mix any element properly with Rasengan, because of the centrifugal properties of the jutsu. Naruto is already used to controlling such mass amounts of power, and chakra itself wasn't nearly as hard to control as Sunshine, the ability. Naruto simply using heat and chakra could form a ball of flame, and compressing it would create the Rasengan. However, just without Sunshine, Jiraiya training Naruto at night, Naruto is too weak. Naruto's body had lost all of its strength when the sun wasn't out. Well, most of it. He was a scrawny little kid at nighttime, but during the day he was a bigger man than Jiraiya, with strength to be able to bend people in half. So naturally, Naruto felt pretty defenseless at night. Since Naruto could already do Rasengan, Jiraiya felt it was not necessary for him to have to perfect this weaker version of Rasengan for Tsunade anyway. And so he decided that he would teach Naruto a new jutsu, something that would be more effective with this smaller, more agile form. Jiraiya himself could not do the jutsu, however he could instruct Naruto on how to do the jutsu and how to learn it. This being the Flying Rasengan technique, the signature movement teleportation jutsu of the 4th Hokage. Since you're already learning the Rasengan, I think you might as well learn his other jutsus as well. The Flying Rasengan, it's quite a difficult sealing jutsu, and considering your amount of chakra control, I imagine this sealing type jutsu is still far too advanced for you. However, if you are able to master this jutsu, even without the Kyuubi's power, while you're trapped in this form at night, without the power of Sunshine you'll be able and ready to be able to use this jutsu to defend yourself or to escape. If you can buy time until the sun rises, you should be fine, especially considering that your chakra reserves aren't necessarily a problem. You have a ton of vitality, it's just you lack the usage for it. Huh? Usage? I don't get it, Naruto would say. Jiraiya would sigh. Well, I suppose we'll continue training for the last couple days until Tsunade's deadline runs out. Even though you've already been able to master Rasengan fairly easily, just using Cruel Sun as the base model. Cruel Sun, which is Naruto or Escanor's signature ability, is compressing heat into a small miniature sun. It's effectively the same as Rasengan without the spinning motion. This spinning would actually cause a whirlwind of heat, mimicking the Rasengan. But Naruto wouldn't tell Tsunade that, of course. She hasn't battled him in his sunshine form before. Because remember last time Naruto came into contact with Tsunade, she was blackout drunk and it was nighttime at that bar. Naruto was in his weaker form, and so of course he wasn't able to handle Tsunade nearly as well as he could if he was in his sunshine form. But now, things were different. Tsunade greeting Naruto in the daytime would be impressed and horrified at his change in stature and power. What happened to you? She'd be thinking. She of course had known Minato, that was Naruto's father, a Namikaze who had the same ability of sunshine, the unique Kikagenkai that is passed down each generation, the ability to harness the power of the sun, and yet she had never seen Minato as a child having ever transformed into this form that Naruto was in. Of course, for those of you who know Seven Deadly Sins, there is a reason behind this, and that's because Naruto's body isn't exactly perfect match-wise with the power of sunshine, just like Escanor's wasn't. That's why his body buffs up and overflows with power when he accesses sunshine. Naruto is a Jinchuriki, and so naturally his chakra paths are both filled with the power of the Nine Tails, another supremely powerful force, and now sunshine, a regenerative, ever-growing pool of power. So naturally the two clash. Naruto and Kurama's chakra is just not quite palpable. Kurama's chakra being more animalistic and poisonous, far more demon-like, while sunshine, as you all know, is a heavenly ability. Basically, Naruto's big buff because his powers don't exactly mesh together very well. Old Lady Tsunade, I suppose it's time for our fight now, isn't it? Well, get ready, won't you? After all, as you can clearly see, I very much needed the power of the Rasengan in order to hold my own against you. Cocky brat, she'd think. Tsunade would show him a thing or two with her strength, as he has no idea how powerful her punches are. Jiraiya would announce the battle commencing as Tsunade throws a punch, a right hook to be specific, Naruto countering with his own right fist as the two fists collide, the two having an equal force, thus countering each other. Both fists would stand solid in the air, no airflow or any pushback on either side. He matched my power, Tsunade would think, before she suddenly begins to feel her elbow cracking. What? Naruto would suddenly have the muscles on his right shoulder buffing up, as he then grunts slightly as he forces just a bit more power into the punch, as he then forces Tsunade's arm to move back. Tsunade dodging back and quickly shifting out of the way of the punch, as Naruto's fist goes flying forward as he falls forward, hitting the ground. His fist now going straight into the dirt, as he rips his hand up, taking a large chunk of the ground with it. Tsunade is about to use a medical chakra blade, when Naruto then holds his finger up saying, my turn. Cruel Rasengan. Naruto summons the Rasengan, and in its flaming glory, the sun, the Cruel Sun, Rasengan style would spin in vortex. This spinning of heat would actually begin to cause the air waves to change around, as a storm would begin to brew in the sky. Naruto's heat actually began to form tornadoes around him, this being an effect of the whirlwind of cool and hot air, causing storms. Effectively, Naruto using Cruel Rasengan has a similar effect to how All Might's punches could change the weather in My Hero Academia, where he would be punching so hard, the air from the lower atmosphere would hit the higher, causing the air itself to spin, heat and cold, creating tornadoes and rain. Tsunade would stand back as she sees this almost godlike entity controlling the weather with a single attack, as Jiraiya would call it there before his love interest gets burnt to a crisp. However, an effect of Naruto creating the storm with his Cruel Rasengan would also be that the sun would be blocked by the clouds, weakening him a little bit as he begins to shrink. As Jiraiya calls the match, Tsunade would run forward trying to get a sneak attack punch in, Naruto then quickly grabbing the Rasengan in his hand and thrusting it at Tsunade. Oh! Jiraiya would quickly use his Toad Sage Stomach, the same jutsu that he would use to have trapped Kisame and Itachi in the original, to protect Tsunade, forming a wall of flesh around her as Tsunade holds her fists up ready to intercept the blow. The Rasengan would cleave clean through the meat, actually causing it to sizzle from the heat as it then impacts Tsunade. Luckily, some of the heat and force was stopped by Jiraiya's wall, so Tsunade wasn't ripped in half. Tsunade would have severe burn marks on her arms, forcing her to use her 100 healings jutsu. Naruto would pump his fists, Tsunade obviously being defeated. Naruto proceeding to look up to Jiraiya, saying, "Well, that's 2 of the Sannin I've defeated now." "Well, pervy Sage, you want to try your luck against me or what?" Naruto would say, grinning devilishly. This would cause Jiraiya to gulp as he then kindly says he'd rather pass. He is quite fond of the hairs on his arms, face, legs, pretty much everywhere not being singed off by Naruto. Naruto would sigh, saying, "Your loss," as it would be if we thought. Naruto would turn as Jiraiya says, "Hey, I heard that." Naruto would walk towards the now destroyed jutsu as he sees Tsunade on the ground, healing herself. But she'd be off, as she's breathing heavily, looking at her own arms. There'd be blood trailing down her arms, but there's nothing else. It was like she was stuck in some sort of trance. Naruto would knock her on the head a few times, asking, "Hello? Is anyone in there?" As Tsunade looks up, finally now snapping out of it, as she had been seeing visions of her younger brother and Dan, her fiance. Tsunade would give Naruto the Hokage necklace, that being her grandfather, the first Hokage's necklace. Little did Naruto know that this would actually help seal the Nine Tails' power, something that Jiraiya had asked Tsunade and the village had asked her about many times beforehand. Tsunade, now having seen Naruto can handle himself without the Nine Tails' power, would hand over the necklace. This would eventually start sealing the Nine Tails chakra inside of Naruto. Tsunade would leave and Jiraiya would ask Naruto, "What was that? What happened?" And Naruto would explain to Jiraiya that when he had went over to check on Tsunade, she was in this weird state. Jiraiya, obviously knowing about her past as well as her fear of blood, would go check on her, as she would admit to Jiraiya that she had actually talked to Kabuto being a representative for Orochimaru, in hopes that she would help revive him. Basically, he wanted her help as a fellow medical ninja to unseal one of the curse marks that Orochimaru had left behind, specifically the one inside of Jugo. Jiraiya, now considering this Kabuto to be a threat, would decide not to tell Naruto, hoping that Naruto himself hasn't realized yet that Kabuto from the Chunin exams had actually betrayed him. Knowing Naruto in his daylight form, he'd be so prideful that someone he had trusted had failed him that he'd have to go and kill him himself. Anyway, a couple days later, Tsunade would have been fully recovered after Naruto's Australia Gone Wild attack, and eventually they would go home, because Orochimaru's dead. So there is no legendary Sannin triple fight like there was in the original timeline, with Naruto fighting Kabuto and using the Rasengan and protecting Tsunade, blah blah blah. That never happens, because Naruto killed Orochimaru in the Forest of Death. So it's actually a pretty boring arc. So they just go home. Shizune, of course, accompanying Tsunade, sort of mad at Naruto that he had hurt her master in such a way. Her, like, wailing on his arms and stuff while they're walking. Naruto turning back and saying, "I already said I'm sorry. What more do you want? Maybe you want matching scars to match your master," he'd say. No, I'll pass," Shizune would wisely say. "Good decision." Naruto would continue walking. Naruto in this version would be swinging his axe, the weapon I told you that Jiraiya and him had custom made from that chakra absorbing material, the same metal that Asuma's knives were created out of, that Naruto would be swinging back and forth by now. Naruto would notice that it was significantly lighter. Naruto unconsciously would be having more ability to use sunshine, his body less grotesque, looking less monster-like, as he looks to be more of a normal size, even similar in height to Jiraiya now, who himself is still a pretty large man. Naruto's sunshine power wouldn't have weakened. No, it was becoming more perfected. This is because the Nine Tails chakra is being sealed by Hashirama Senju's necklace, the chakra that was interfering with Sunshine's flow and ability. Of course, even without the Nine Tails insurrection between Naruto's chakra, he still would never be able to attain 100% power in terms of Sunshine, because Naruto isn't a pure Namikaze. Naruto is 50% Uzumaki, which provides him more chakra, but doesn't give him any more ability to utilize Sunshine. All it does is give him more stamina and vitality, which is good in this case because it allows his body to take more damage from Sunshine, something that would eventually have killed Escanor in the original timeline. Anyway, after that bath filler arc that happened that nobody ever remembers, Naruto, along with the rest of Tsunade's group, would make it back to the Leaf Village, with them immediately heading towards the hospital where Kakashi and the others would have been injured by the attack of the Akatsuki that happened earlier, where Naruto pretty much wiped the floor with the Akatsuki.
Are you the guy who says you hate overpowered characters who just fuck up power scaling?
No, what are you talking about? No, I love overpowered whiffs. They're the best. They're not stupid and just a waste of everyone's time where you watch the same exact shit thousands of times over and over again. Come on. Come on. Naruto, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Chizune, along with that one pig that has more screen time than Tenten, would make it back to the Leaf Village, with Tsunade now there to heal those who had remained, that being Kakashi and Guy and, you know, the other Jonin who got attacked by Itachi and Kisame. This time, the third Hokage, Hiruzen, was not killed, so she isn't really there to be the next Hokage. So Hiruzen would just thank Naruto and Jiraiya for going out and retrieving her as the Tsunade retrieval arc ends. From here, we're going to be going into Shippuden because there is no Sasuke retrieval arc. Like, there's no curse mark. I mean, sure, they could come get him anyway, but there's no Orochimaru to train him, so what's the point in Sasuke going with these random weaklings that even Genin could beat? Like, Choji and Shikamaru could clap, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm going to end it off here. We'll probably be going into a time skip directly into Shippuden with Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura all as either Jonin or Naruto having left on his 3 years journey. I'll decide probably next part. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this part 8 for What If Naruto Had Sunshine, this little revival. If you haven't, you know, make sure to go watch the prior series, which I said already. You should probably already do, but hey, what can you do? Anyway, if you guys are looking forward to tomorrow's What If, we'll be doing What If Naruto's in Genshin Impact. That will be coming out the 4th at some point. And I'll also be working after that point on some other parts and things for these series. I have a Warlock Naruto part already coming out in the works that I've been working on for a while. This one should be, I'm tempted to say the finale to the Sand Village arc, but we'll see how long it drags because it's a pretty in-depth story arc. And if you made it to the end, you might as well subscribe and do all that good shit. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.